Hillbilly Elegy, J.D. Vance, Why Should You Care? While he might be the very next vice president and a heartbeat away from the presidency, here are my takeaways from his 2016 book, Hillbilly Elegy. If you want to know where someone's going, all you have to do is know where someone's been. Good book. My conclusion first. Hillbilly Elegy was an exceptionally good read. It gave me a distinctive perspective on who J.D. Vance is, and I was impressed with what I read. That someone from such humble beginnings could be as successful as he has become. Politics aside, I believe J.D. Vance could have a positive influence on the lives of the working poor. He has a unique perspective on the downfall of our small towns and cities in what many call flyover country. He could be the person that might be able to do something about it. I highly recommend the book. I find the title intriguing. I had to look up elegy, and is defined as a form of poetry expressing grief, sadness, or loss. But what is J.D. Vance's thoughts on his loss? He lost so much in his youth, yet he accomplished so much. If I ever get a chance to ask him, I'll report back. This summation is brief, it's abridged, but the following stuck with me. This is what I thought and felt as I worked my way through the chapters. I can best sum it up as his life through high school as a train wreck. I got progressively sadder at each passing chapter. I kept hoping that his life would get better. If I didn't know how it ended, I might have stopped reading. But like a train wreck, I couldn't look away. I couldn't put it down. I wanted to know how anyone with all the challenges in his life got to where he is. I finished the book in less than a day. J.D. Vance was born and grew up in Middletown, Ohio, but he didn't consider Middletown his home. He had many addresses in Middletown where he lived with his mother and sister, but he considered his home to be his great-grandmother's house, situated in a holler in Jackson, Kentucky. He spent his summer vacations with his great-grandmother and extended family. He considers himself a hillbilly. He was born into chaos. His mother had many men in her life, but they never stayed for long. His father left when he was just a toddler. He was adopted by his new mother's husband, but that marriage also failed. His mother suffered from addiction, and though you can tell in his writings that she loved him, she couldn't properly take care of him or his older sister. His maternal grandparents, Mama and Papa, were his primary caregivers for the majority of his early life. While he lived with his mother, he spent his time at Mama's house. His grandparents moved to Middletown from Jacksonville in their early teens. Pregnant and unmarried, they wanted something better for their family than what Jackson had to offer. But J.D.'s portrayal of hillbillies might best be summed up as a very rough bunch. Disrespect someone's mother or sister, there's going to be a fight. Disagreement at home, furniture's getting overturned, plates are going to be fly. But with all the arguments and fighting, there's a deep sense of loyalty and love. I can only imagine that as a child it must have been an emotional roller coaster. Throughout his upbringing, it is also crystal clear that Mama is J.D.'s rock. She loves him, she supports him, she believes in him. She tells him that not only can he succeed, but he will succeed. The turning point in his life was his decision after high school to join the Marines instead of going on to college or getting a job. As someone who spent 4 years in the Navy, the military would build up an adult from a child. Boot camp is probably the most challenging thing any person has done to that point in their young life. It'll make you or break you. Now, for those that graduated basic training, they leave changed, but changed for the better. J.D.'s words, "The day I graduated from boot camp was the proudest of my life. An entire crew of hillbillies showed up for my graduation, 18 in total, including Mama sitting in her wheelchair. They caravanned back to Middletown for his 10 days of leave, and he feels different. Middletown feels different. The Corps changed his perspective on himself, his town, and his prospect for the future." There is one impactful moment during his time in Iraq. He explains how while on an assignment, he gave a very shy boy a small eraser, and how this boy changed his outlook on his life. And he writes, "His face briefly lit up with joy before he ran away to his family, holding his 2-cent prize aloft in triumph. I've never seen such excitement on a child's face." J.D. says that he doesn't believe in epiphanies, but with that boy, at that moment, it was very close to one. And he continues, "For my entire life, I've harbored resentment at the world. I was mad at my mother and father, mad that I rode the bus to school while other kids caught rides with their friends, mad that my clothes didn't come from Abercrombie, mad that my grandfather died, mad that we lived in a small house. And that resentment didn't vanish in an instant, but as I stood and surveyed the mass of children of the war-torn nation, their school without running water, and the overjoyed boy, I began to appreciate how lucky I was. Born in the greatest country on earth, every modern convenience at my fingertips, supported by two loving hillbillies and part of a family that for all its quirks loved me. They loved me unconditionally, and at that moment I resolved to be the type of man who would smile when someone gave him an eraser. I haven't quite made it there, but without that day in Iraq, I wouldn't be trying. His other testament to the Marine Corps was simply, the Marine Corps taught me how to live like an adult. After the Marines, he went on to Ohio State University. He finished in 23 months with a double major, summa cum laude. In law school, my biggest takeaway is how different he was from the rest of his class, and how different the children of the rich and well-off are from the working class children. How he found himself in many situations that life, even the Corps, didn't prepare him for. And with help, he worked through these challenges and graduated. In law school, he met his wife, Usha, who would become his new rock. With her help, he concluded that he had challenges to overcome. He discovered that childhood behaviors that to him and his sister seemed commonplace, psychologists call adverse childhood experiences, or AECs. AECs are traumatic childhood events, and their consequences reach far into adulthood. Children with multiple ACEs are much more likely to suffer from anxiety, depression, obesity, heart disease, and even to contract certain types of cancers. The fact that we recognized this challenge and sought solutions was a welcome read. As he put it, chaos begets chaos, instability begets instability. Welcome to the family life for an American hillbilly. And through it all, he persevered. It's been 8 years since the book was published, which was made into a movie. He has a wonderful family, a successful business, is Ohio's junior senator, and has now been chosen by Donald Trump to be his vice presidential running mate. Pretty impressive for a hillbilly boy from Middletown, Ohio. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day.